Okay, good evening, everybody, and thank you very much for logging on this evening. Sam's apologies that a little girl isn't very well, and with all the wedding and everything. So I'm your host and your guest speaker this evening. So thank you very much for logging on. Yep, you can definitely hear me. So what I'm going to talk to you guys about this evening is a bit about mindset, but some practical stuff of what I did to to start my business off, what I did to get it up and running, and kind of the background behind it as well. Because what I believe is that when you start your forever journey, I think you can start with a bit of a head start. And no pun intended, but it's about starting in the right frame of mind in your head, kind of thing, and understanding what it takes to really be successful. And what I mean by that is what mindset it takes. And if I'm honest, I didn't really realize that I was in the perfect kind of headspace when I started. But, I went to a training this weekend, actually. I spoke at an event and Daniel Watson was there. He was speaking and he was absolutely brilliant. And he said that people can flick the switch and decide to become successful and really kind of kickstart their businesses or whatever it is that they want to really kind of change. Because of one of two things, either inspiration, so you're inspired by somebody else and you've decided, actually, if they can do it, I can do it, let's go, or by desperation. And it made me really kind of think, it was definitely desperation on my part. I was desperate. So I'll tell you a bit about Before Forever. And it's not woe is me, because it's really not. I haven't had a bad life, not to had too many tragedies happen to our family. I really feel like we've been quite lucky, actually. But just the reality was that I was working in Gwent Police Control Room. I worked on the radios, and I directed police officers to calls. And if I'm honest, I really wanted to be a police officer, but I was way too unconfident to apply. And in fact, I must have had like 80, gosh, more than that, so many interviews for jobs. And I mean, to the extreme where like I had an interview to make tea and coffee at a solicitor's firm, and it was something like £3 something an hour. That is not even a joke. That's what it was. And I didn't even get that job because I just froze in interviews. I was horrendous. I just couldn't speak. I was so embarrassed. I felt completely worthless. So I got the job in the control room and I was really excited. So I was going to try my very, very best. And actually I took to it a bit like a duck to water, and I did really well. And I loved it. But unfortunately, the people that worked there were all kind of middle-aged. They've been working there years and years, and some young girl at the time, 20-ish, then some young girl at the time coming in and just, not having to ask for their help and just getting on and doing it and actually working a lot harder than everybody else kind of got their backs up. So I used to go home every day crying to my mum and dad. And I had moved back home because I'd been in a 10-year relationship, which I'd ended, and then moved back in with mum and dad, who were extending their house. So we lived in, we call it the Fokker van. It's a bit like Meet the Fockers. They had one of those, you press the button on the wall, the room moves out kind of thing. It's lush to go on holiday, but to live in it with your parents who snore like, honestly, it's horrendous. I remember thinking, oh my God, I just want to die. This is so bad. Like I'm 26 or 26, what was I, 26, 27, thinking like I am living pretty much in a caravan with my parents. Like, really, do things get worse? Well, yeah, they did get worse because then I got bullied at work. And so I would come home crying. And I remember my auntie is a born-again Christian, and I actually don't mind going to church and stuff, but I'm not massively into it. And she messaged me and said, your mum told me you're having a tough time at work, watch this. So I clicked on it, and it was The Secret, and I'd never heard of it before. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, she's trying to get me into the church, I'm not watching that. So I just stopped watching it after like 3 minutes, and that was it. So then about 4 months later, still coming home crying all the time, my brother came home from uni and said, you need to watch this. And so he put it on, and I was like, oh my gosh, has Auntie Angela messaged you too? He was like, no, why? I'm like, that is like some God thing, Kai. Like, she's trying to get us in, like, deeply into the church. And he was like, no, this is about like mindset, about the law of attraction. And I was like, oh, really? So then I gave it the benefit of the doubt, and then I watched it and I understood it. I got it, because when it said you attract things, even the things you don't want to admit you attract. So I had written off every car that I had owned. And so much so, it made me think about, actually, honestly, there were two occasions where I actually crashed. The following day after, saying to my mum, oh my God, I haven't had a crash for ages. That's how bad of a driver I was. So when I watched The Secret, I knew, like, I'm like, well, it makes sense, because I can actually, I thought things were going to happen and then they would happen. So I'm like, yeah, I get it. It's quite factual, I guess. But does it work the other way around? And then I was like, don't be so stupid, Emma. Well, if it works this way, it's obviously going to work the other way. So I didn't just watch The Secret once and think, oh, well, that's great. I watched it every single morning for 18 months religiously. As I got ready for work, as I got up out of bed on my days off, I would watch The Secret. I know it word for word now. But I really, really got my head into it, and everything turned around. So I went from being really unhappy in my police job in the control room to applying for the police in Manchester, which I know was moving 4 hours away, or 3.5, 4 hours away from my mum and dad. But I really felt like I needed a change, I guess. So I made a goal board, and I even went as far as I sent myself a letter from the police saying, congratulations, you've been accepted, you passed your interview and all that stuff, honestly. And I opened it as if like I had no idea what it was going to be. And I'm like, yeah. And my mum's like, oh my God, did you get it? She starts screaming. I'm like, oh no, this is The Secret, Mum, but go along with it. And she's like, oh, okay. So I pinned that on my board, and everything happened literally as I thought it would happen, even where I imagined 3 guys interviewing me, and the middle one having like bright white hair in the interview. He did. When I got there, I was so freaked out. And I had said to my mum, this is not an interview, Mum. This is a really casual chat, because they're going to really like me. And she's like, do you think so? I'm like, I have no idea, but I'm telling myself that. Genuinely, they didn't ask me any kind of questions that I prepared for and that you would expect in a police interview. We just had a chat, and they were asking me what I wanted out of life and why I chose the cops, and just a really casual chat. And at the end, they were just like, do you think you've got the job? And I was like, well, I hope so. And they were like, well, come on, this is brilliant. And I was like, oh, okay then. And I literally got outside and cried my eyes out to my mum. I couldn't believe it, but I could believe it because I'd already felt it, I'd already done it. So when I joined the police, then I had put on my goal board these things. So I wanted to meet somebody and have a really lush relationship, and I picked a picture on my goal board of a guy and a man and a woman, and I didn't think she was that isn't the exact picture, but I didn't think she was in a wedding dress or anything. I just thought it was a couple walking down the beach, that were like in love. And I knew I wanted children, so I put a picture of a pregnant lady, and she was actually sat on the beach in my picture. I put in a picture of an engagement ring. I wanted to move back to Wales. I even went as far, on The Secret, it tells you move your clothes. If you want to have a partner and you want to settle down and move in and stuff, then you should move half your clothes out your wardrobe in preparation for them moving in. And I remember laughing with my friend and saying that just seems ridiculous. And she was like, well, if we're going to do everything else, we may as well do that. I'm like, that is so weird though. What if someone says, why is your wardrobe half empty and the other half of your clothes are in the spare room? She was like, you can just make something up. So I was like, okay, maybe I will then. So I moved half my wardrobe out. I really wanted a job on the drug squad, so I put that on my goal board as well. But honestly, all the time I would sit and I would think, okay, how is it going to feel when I get it? What is it going to look like? Who can I see? Who will be around me? What is my life going to look like on a daily basis? And I did that goal board, and I had joined the police then. I had got onto a really great drug squad. But then I stopped doing The Secret, and things spiraled downhill. So I got assaulted a few times. I was having problems at work, just the people I worked with, and just one thing after another, and I had some bad times with a friend of mine. It just seemed like, when you're like, gosh, when's it actually going to go right? And so what I decided to do was start again. So I decided that I'm getting this goal board out. I still want the same things. I'm switching my head, just literally just flicked a switch and was like, right, I'm switching my head up. This is it. I'm going to get all these things, but I'm going to get them by being really relaxed about it and just feeling like I already had them. So I really wanted like a best friend, and I met Lise. I really wanted to meet like my soulmate, although I didn't actually believe they existed, but I did. So I met Sean, and I'm not joking, we moved in together straight away. So moving the clothes worked. We got engaged very quickly afterwards, and then we got married, and I got married on a beach in Jamaica. And the very next day, I found out on the beach, actually, that I was pregnant. So be careful what you're putting on these goal boards and where you're positioning them, because I literally had the pregnancy one right next to the wedding one. I didn't expect it to be that quick, but be careful what you're doing, because they actually do work. But I believe it's having a vision. It's having a vision of what it's going to be like when you get there. And that's the difference, is knowing exactly how it feels. So it's okay to have some pictures and to look at them and think, this is going to be great when I get there. It is a lot deeper than that. It's knowing how it's going to feel. It's seeing what's around you. Looking at that bottom right picture, the pregnant one, see on the bed. Now, if you were my parents, you would know that this is like an announcement. Surprise, you were going to be grandparents, wouldn't you? Hands up for that. You would know, wouldn't you, that was like me going, surprise. They both looked at the beds and they were like, that's nice, love. Did the butlers do it? And I'm like, Mum, are you serious? And they're all like, what? You are going to be really great parents. I'm like, no, Mum, you are going to be grandparents. She was like, what? You're pregnant? I'm like, yeah, but you've totally ruined it now. So I thought I'd tell you that little story while I'm looking at that picture. It's hilarious. But yeah, everything literally came into my life that I had been visualizing all this time. Of course, after this point, I hadn't made any plans, any goals, hadn't thought about anything else. I just thought about this love, meeting this love of my life, and settling down, I guess, and having a best friend to share it all with. But I'd not thought beyond that point. So when all this happened, it was great, but then I had nothing else to focus on. I couldn't even imagine what my life was going to look like when William got here, because my parents lived so far away. We had no childcare support whatsoever. It would have cost me 1,300 quid a month to put William in nursery so that Sean and I could work, and I only earned £1,600 a month. So it meant that I was paying somebody else all that money to do what I really wanted, and I'd be working full time with all that stress for 300 quid a month. And it wasn't until literally I was 30 weeks pregnant that this actually dawned on me, and I thought, what on earth am I doing? So I found Forever December 2013, and Jules had contacted me 4 years before. And so if I'm honest, I probably doubted I could do anything that she could do, really. I knew she was like doing theatre stuff, so I assumed that she was just really confident, and you can sing on stage, flip a neck, you can do anything. And I guess that I watched because I was intrigued, but I just didn't think, I don't know, I just doubted, like, oh, maybe not. And if I'm honest, I was very, very cynical. I mean, skeptical as they come. So I thought Juliana's husband must have been, or boyfriend at the time, must have been a drug dealer, because I just didn't understand how people lived the lifestyle that they seemed to live. And yet she was putting photos on Facebook of being in her pajamas with a laptop on her lap, saying she was helping people earn this extra income. And I thought, that is ridiculous. Like, as if that is the case. I genuinely thought, like, there's something dodgy going on there. I even said it's Sean. But when I was desperate, I thought, well, maybe there's something in it. Maybe I'll speak to her and see what it is. So I contacted her and she sent me the information. And all I could think in my head was, do you know what? if somebody else has done it, then why can't I? And that's what you should think. If somebody else has done something where you would like to be, you would like to get to the same position, it's completely doable. It's getting your head around it and then putting the activity in place and getting it actually done. So I found Forever. William arrived in the March, by which point I was a manager. And in the June, we moved back to Wales. So everything happened that was on my goal board. So when I first started, I didn't just think, I'm going to give it a go. And if you think that, I almost think like, well, just stop now, send your box back, get some money back. Like, just don't bother. Because it's not about giving things a go in life. You're either doing something or you're not. And there's different levels, because there's different levels of what you want to achieve. Whereas I know there is different levels of what you want to achieve, but I always think that the only thing that kind of puts that kind of the top on that level is your head, by saying, oh, well, I can't do that, so I won't think that I want that, because what's the point, because I can't do it anyway. And I understand how that feels, because I've been there. But you have to almost let go of everything now. And I mean everything. None of this limiting self-talk, none of this, oh, I just don't think I'm good enough, I just don't think I can, I just don't think it's going to happen for me, I'm doing all the work but it's not happening. We know that that is not right. And if that is right, well, I've got a wonderful manager in my team called Jo Warman, and it wasn't until she spoke at one of our events did I realise that this has happened. But she said that when we spoke and we did a planning, she was doing everything. And I mean, she was doing absolutely everything. She was speaking to more than enough people every day. She was following up. She was keeping her 1 to 31 folders correctly. She was doing product launches. She was doing stalls. She was doing everything, giving leaflets out. She even got bit by a dog so badly she bled whilst giving leaflets out. And I remember she rang me and I'm like, keep going, babe. Like, how tiny is that? But I was just like, oh, well, is it bad? She's like, no. I'm like, wipe it on, keep going then. Don't let anything stop you, girl. You're doing this for your kids. Let's do it. And I remember, so when she stood on stage and she said, I had challenges, and that girl had some challenges, I tell you. And she still has a bit of a tough time of it, but she gets it done. It's only when she stood on stage, she said, I had a planning meeting with Emma, and Emma said, you're doing everything right. It's just your head, Jo. And if you're not doing things on the right headspace, the mindset, it's not going to happen. And I almost cringe at that, because I think, oh God, I hate saying like, oh, it's your mindset, because it seems like such an excuse, as if, oh, it's not working for you, it must be a mindset. But I know that it is. It's almost, a mindset and attitude that it has to be kind of propelled forward with that behind it. And if it's not, it doesn't work. So when I started, I gave 1,000,000%, not 100, or I'm going to do it 120%. I gave it my all and some. I did not stop every waking second of every day, and I probably only slept about 3 or 4 hours a night. For so long, because I was so excited, and I couldn't believe that everybody wasn't doing it. When people said no, I genuinely was shocked. Like, why wouldn't you? I don't get it. It's just common sense. Why wouldn't you do it? So I literally gave it my all. These are the things that I did and I didn't do. So I listened to every single rolling training absolutely without fail, and I still do. I never ever, I can hand on my heart say, I've never ever missed a rolling training. I go to business presentations. I do at least 2 business presentations a week around the country to help my team out, and so that I'm there. I have never, ever missed a BP. I won't miss a BP, and I won't miss a success day. I'm there at every single one. When I first started, I genuinely was told on a rolling training that successful people do 3 things. They go to business presentations weekly, they listen to trainings, and they go to success days. And I thought, okay, then that's what I'll do. See, I was a really good student. I just did as I was told, because I thought if it can work for them, it can work for me. And this is what they're saying they did, so I'm going to do this too. Not, no, I've been to every other one, but this one I'm just not going to go to because it's my friend's baby shower, and I promised I will. Like, there's nothing for me. I'll never miss a success day. I even booked my Las Vegas tickets for December to go and watch Richard Branson and Tony Robbins, like my complete idols. Then the Success Day dates came out and it's on Success Day. So there's 3 tickets, I think I got wasted because I won't be going now because I'll be here for Success Day. So when I said I'll never miss one, I will never miss one. Contacting 15 people per day minimum. I was speaking to 15 people a day, a mixture of telephone calls, text messages, Facebook. They were all people that I knew. I've never ever done this spamming on what they called sales and swap sites. I've never added people that I didn't know. I've never just added people because I have friends in common with them. I have never ever done that. I have always spoken to people first, then I've added them on Facebook, and I mean spoken to them face to face. So I've never relied on any other method because it doesn't work in the long haul, because it's not duplicatable. If I had built my business spamming on blinking sales and swap sites, the next person that joins my team is going to copy me, the next person is going to copy me, the next person is going to copy me. And we've all seen that happen actually, where they were absolutely flooded. Then everyone got sick of it and everyone was annoyed with it. So somebody did that. I didn't do it, but somebody has done that and it doesn't work. Look what happened. So we need to learn network marketing and take it for what it is and actually learn the skills of speaking to people and building those relationships. So I was speaking to 15 people a day. And I was adding at least 5 new people to my pipeline every single day, to my who do you know list, to then speak to about the business. I was doing one-to-ones all over the country. I would drive and do a one-to-one. I would, in fact, I remember driving all the way back to Wales to meet someone to go to a BP, and they didn't turn up. And they said they were going to right up until it. And I'd driven an 8-hour round trip for that. So yeah, there were times when it was frustrating. But I just made the most of it. I went to see another friend who ended up joining actually and became my second manager. So it was well worth it. But if there's something that lets you down, double the activity to get over it. None of this moping around for a couple of days. I never did that. I just focused on what I wanted and it made me more driven to go get it. I did product launches for as many people as I physically could. So if I sponsored you and if I sponsored you and let's call you A, and then you sponsored B and B sponsored C and C sponsored D, I'd go to every single one of those product launches, as many as I physically could. Obviously my front line was the priority, but literally every single night I was out. Not one night did I stay, and I worked 7 till 4. I would drive straight home, and I would get out and go straight. I would get home, speak to the prospects I've been speaking to, then I would get straight out to a product launch for my team, and then I would drop a PUP box off on my way home. That was my usual routine. PUP boxes though, the first 7 PUP boxes I didn't get one single order, not one. I was thinking, how are all these people doing so many PUP box boxes and getting so many good results? Like, I must be doing something wrong. Listen to a little PUP box training, just says, when you drop it off, take your products out the box, put them on the kitchen side so that when you leave, they don't just pop them straight back in the basket and kind of put them down by the side of the door. That's what I did the next time. I got a little order. I think it was only like tooth gel or something, but I was really excited. And then I just kept doing that. And eventually I just built up and built up. I would, of course, support my team. So I would work as deep as I can, as I could. So when A sponsored B, who sponsored C, who sponsored D, I would work really deep within that team, doing all their first steps to manager, their planning meetings, making sure it was all done, and making sure I was generating that excitement and that momentum straight away from the start. Always had a can-do, will-do attitude. And now I just think, look, we know we can do it because other people have done it. Why can't we? That's obvious. So we can do it. We know this. But it's about, will you do it? Are you definitely going to do it? What does your head tell you? Well, I'm going to try, but, well, if it says that, it's probably not going to end well. It's a I am doing it attitude. And that's got to be a sustainable attitude over a period of time. It can't just be that you're focused for a day or an evening or a couple of hours after a webinar. You have to have sustained motivation, because you can have all the skill in the world. In fact, you could have, 5 years of training in network marketing, 5 years of come and live with me. I'll teach you everything. And that's not an offer for everybody, but if you were to come and live with me and I taught you everything I know, or if I was to go and live with Janie, she taught me everything she knew, it wouldn't make me successful. What makes you successful is you being motivated to go out there and do it. That is the difference. So you can sit and train and know all about the products and do everything for the next 5 years, but you won't be successful. Someone can start tomorrow and build an absolutely massive business, which is what you actually want to do, just by kind of being motivated and staying 100% motivated 100% of the time. None of these like, oh, I was having a wobble today. Wobbling over what? The business works. If it's you, then put some work into developing you. There's nothing to wobble about. Business is here, going nowhere. It's here for you to do what you want with. But if it's your own kind of self-belief, then that has to be something that you work on. And if you're serious about it, you'll work on it every day like I do. Because, I've talked about my kind of demons before, and I have to do it every single day without fail. Everybody who's kind of bunked in with me when we've stayed away at events, wake up in the morning, they're like, oh, you actually do it? I'm like, yeah, you kidding? Why would I say I did if I didn't? And they're like, oh, no, I just thought you didn't actually do it every single day. I'm like, of course I do. I'm like, I have to. And it works. So I worked on that daily. I committed to being successful for my family. And I still do it now for my family, really. Because what would drive you, when you've got more than you ever dreamed, ever, even if I died and came back as someone who I thought was lucky, even our lives now are just insane. And what would make me get my butt out of bed in the morning when things are so good if I wasn't doing it for a good enough reason? And so I committed to being successful for my family from day one. In fact, day one was probably just to prove Sean wrong because he was such an idiot about it. But as soon as that was done, then it has been all about for my family. So I've watched everything, I've read everything, and I did everything. So I didn't just watch and read things. I actually put what they told me, what they taught me into action. What I didn't do was wait for anyone to do it for me. No one's going to do it for you. You have to get out there and do it yourself. You have to start working on you. You have to put in the activity. It doesn't matter how supportive your upline is, or even if they're not. It does not matter. Jules will tell you, I saw her twice. I lied, twice before I was manager. I had a planning meeting at supervisor, and that was the last one I've had. So it doesn't take actually for anybody to do anything for you. You can do it yourself. We have enough information. We have enough support there, teaching us the skills. So it's just about us putting the activity in. I never blamed anyone else. Oh, my upline lives too far away. Oh, I never see her face to face. Oh, she doesn't go to the BP. Oh, she didn't come and do my product launch. Oh, I haven't had a planning meeting in a while. Yeah, I'm not 4CC active and she won't tell me how to do it. So these things, can be said, I'm sure, but don't let it be you. Take responsibility for you and your business. We are part of the most amazing team with the most amazing training. So everything is there for us. We have so much more than anybody else in Forever trying to build a business, believe me. I didn't just think it was going to happen. I was realistic. I knew that if I wanted massive stuff, I had to do massive action. And I remember, I hope she doesn't mind me saying, but when I started, Jules was earning $8,000 a month. And I know this because I made her screenshot me her online banking with the money going in because I just didn't believe it. I remember thinking, oh my gosh, she's been doing this for 4 years. She's earning $8,000 a month. That is absolutely insane. And I thought, even if I have to work for 10 years, like work my absolute butt off for 10 years to get $8,000 a month, I'm so willing to do it. 20 years, I still would have done $8,000 a month. Like, that's nuts. But I didn't know about work ethic. I didn't understand that my work ethic is probably a bit more than the average Joe's. I didn't know I could sustain such a high level of work ethic for so long either. Again, listening to Daniel Watson was explaining at that training I went to, he was saying that, I saw what Ems did and I thought, I'm going to do it. I'm going to work my butt off. He said, and after 3 months, I hit a brick wall and I was physically exhausted. I couldn't stop crying. I was just so tired. And I sat there and I did actually think to myself, like, that's what it was then. So because I was able to sustain that level of work for that long, that's what did it. And I genuinely believe that. But also, I wanted big change, but I just wasn't sure how much work. I'm kind of extreme, if I'm honest. I used to be all or nothing. Now I've got a really good balance, but so I was all for 2 years, and I guess I didn't focus on anyone else's journey whatsoever. Couldn't tell you who went supervisor, assistant manager, manager the same time as me. Most of the time, I don't even know who's senior soaring sapphire in the UK. I am pants, apart from my own team. I'm rubbish because it doesn't affect me. I'm happy for everybody else. Of course I am. And when I see promotions, I'm so excited, but I don't remember them. And it's because first of all, I'm not a competitive person, so it doesn't drive me, other people doing things. I'm inspired by people, but it's more so, I don't know, like the humility of people really kind of inspires me. So I love watching Jane Leach. I'm really weird. I do it at Success Day, but from a distance, I see how she is with other people. I just think it's really lush, and things like that like really inspire me, and they spur me on. But not someone being promoted to so and so or what have you. No, it's kind of how people hold themselves, maybe how they speak. That's what gets kind of inspires me. So I've never got frustrated with my team. I don't say, oh, for God's sake, you haven't done your 4cc. In fact, I recognise people for the smallest of things. So if you did 0.123 case credits last month and you did 0.246 case credits this month, you would be recognised. You've doubled your business in a month. I don't care if that's from 0.001 case credit to 0.002, although I don't know how you would do that. You've doubled your business in a month. So it's about recognizing the small things within your team. So I never got frustrated with my team, with anybody else. I never thought it'd be easy. I never waited for my planning meeting to get going. I never moaned and I never complained, ever. I never have. I might acknowledge sometimes, like, flipping heck, I've had a rough day, but I don't moan about it, because what's the point? And I see so many people with such tragedies happening. Before I moan, I think, how dare you? How dare you? Even just the last few weeks, I know so many people affected by such tragic circumstances. And even if you're going through a tough time, like I'm not going through a tough time. I'm actually going through a really lush time, but I've been through some tough times. And at first I think, oh gosh, why is this happening? And then I kind of get a reality check and think, like, hold on a minute. One of my friends lost their mum, and I think of other people around me and I know their circumstances, and I think, how dare you? Pull your head out of your butt, and get yourself back into gear, because that's all it takes, is just flicking that switch, and you choose when you flick the switch. You choose. And I never, ever, 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 ever have thought about giving up. Not once. Never, ever, ever. If my business went to zero tomorrow, I think I'll just build it back up, no problem, because it's doable. So do it again. It's not about thinking I'll do this and I'll keep trying, but if it doesn't work for me, what am I supposed to do? I've just never ever thought that at all. And I know I've picked the right company. I know that at the moment you might have seen some things around, but believe me, it's nonsense. I have never ever met such genuinely humble people as I have forever. And I'm talking about the head office, Bob, the likes of the vice presidents, Aidan, Greg and Rex. I mean, really, these are wonderful people. So base your judgments on people that you really trust, that you know really well, that have had some, good and maybe even some bad experiences, but the general gist of it is there. And we are with the best blinking company. It's not surprising with our success here that other people are going to come along and try and take a bit of that. And they do that by trying to tarnish, of course. I mean, that's just business, isn't it? I guess for them. I don't pay any attention to it. I'm not even bothered. And I know exactly what the situation is. within our amazing company, and I'm really, really happy about it. I don't know about you guys, but I know we're definitely with the right company. I didn't think it would happen that quick, but I definitely believed it could. When I got to Sapphire Manager, I think it was my 15th month of starting Forever. And I don't know. If I'm honest, I never had Sapphire on my goal board because I didn't really know what it was. Didn't understand the power of that 1% gem bonus whatsoever. And if I'm honest, it kind of crept up on me because I honestly was just helping as many people as I could and just doing as much. I mean, look how rough I look on that top photo. Why Jules would pick that top photo for my picture, I have no idea. So bad. That was my safety outfit. I had this black polo t-shirt, this skirt, tights and boots because literally it was the only outfit I had for so long because I just didn't have time to go shopping. And I don't like buying clothes. So it kind of crept up on me. But if I'm honest, about what's it? The January, I went Sapphire Manager in the March, and in the January I went to a January event. I came home from that, cried all the way home because I felt like I always thought light bulb moments were nonsense until I went to Janru and I had my light bulb moment where she said something about feeling like you don't deserve it. And that's exactly how I had been feeling. And I was struggling a bit with it. I felt like it was holding me back. So she said I don't even know what she said, but something that made me realize that's what it is. I spent all my car journey, about an hour and a half on the way home to Dave O'Connor saying, oh my gosh, I know what it is. I've had a light bulb moment. This is it now. You watch what I'm going to do. That Sapphire promotion thing, I'm going to do it. So I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. They're there and I need to help them. So went home, said to Sean, don't call me Emma anymore, love. Call me Sapphire Manager. He was like, are you joking? I said, no, I need to believe it's happened. I need to know what it feels like to be one. I need to be a Sapphire Manager already, and it's going to happen. I'm telling you, by March, I'm going to be Sapphire. He's like, okay, love. So every morning I'd wake up and he'd go, morning, Sapphire Manager. I'd be like, morning, Sapphire Manager. So stupid. But I genuinely felt like I already was one. And so it's almost like normal then. Well, of course, if you already think it's happened, if you already feel like it's happened, you're doing the actions daily that's going to take you towards it, it will definitely happen. And I did my daily mindset stuff. I still do it every single day. The Secret, daily affirmations. So I sit and I write mine out. I don't like to just read something. I write them out every single day because they change sometimes. Setting goals is vitally important. And if you haven't got any really strict goals that you're really connected to, that you're bothered about getting your butt out of bed in the morning to get them done, then you need to really have a look at goals. I mean, really, really have a look at goals and get out there and find what it is that motivates you, what it is going to drive you forward to make a change. Sometimes it can just be fear, like we're not going to be here for very long. I've only got 2.5 decades left before, I'm of an age where I don't want to work, and I've got 2 decades left to make a massive difference that's going to keep my family okay for life. I don't have much time, so I am motivated right now to get the work done to make sure that is all fine in the future. So setting goals, and the Miracle Morning, if you haven't read it, there's the Miracle Morning for Network Marketers. You can get it on Amazon. It's fantastic, and I swear by it, and that's what I do. It just makes me super organized for my day. I'm not a morning person naturally. In fact, I was one of those really like don't speak to me for at least half an hour. But in fact, it's really helped me. I have my blueprints. There's also an app called Think Up, so you can actually kind of make your own mini blueprints. It's a bit cringe because I don't like listening to my own voice, but it's actually really, really good. So I love that app. And I read all the time. I read a minimum of 5 pages a day. That's the lowest, but I would say normally I read like 20 to 30 pages. And I read because it's all about kind of instilling that underlying knowledge, in my opinion, in there. So it's there. I don't have to think about it. I just know stuff. And so when I'm doing planning meetings or when I'm speaking to prospects, it just kind of rolls off my tongue because I've read it so much. I've practiced it so much. It's just there. It's now become like a skill or habit. So that's why I read. And so that, I'm not just sat there planning out some case credits over a month. We're chatting, we're talking about skills, we're talking about different mindset, maybe, lots of different things, but it's just going to add value. It just gives you a wider perspective on everything. And knowledge isn't power, but it is certainly potential power. You've got to do the right stuff with it. So of course then everything was exceeded. And I guess I'll share with you what that did income wise from 14,882 in the February. When you hit Sapphire, they back pay it for the whole month. Even though you don't hit it, if they don't go manager, your ninth manager till the end of the month, they backdate it and pay you the 1% on everything you did that month. That is insane, isn't it? So it went to 25.5. Then that's got chairman's bonus in it, so I didn't get 53. Then to 33. It's the same one on there. Then to 45, and that's the highest bonus I've ever had in forever. And so what I would like to leave you on saying, like, if not now, then when? Stop thinking, oh well, that's all right because that's you, and that's something different, and you must be different. I'm absolutely blinking not. If you've met me, then you actually understand. No, she really isn't anything special. But it is just about having that sustained motivation. Being 100% motivated 100% of the time. There will be some choices you have to make if you want big things to happen, but I promise you it will be absolutely worth it. If there's anything that you can work on tonight, my one tip would be to think, start working on your vision. Really start working on your vision. Let me just of what it is that you want things to look like, how you want to feel. So I've turned off my screen, but I'm going to play you. I didn't actually plan to do this, but I thought, stuff it, you need to hear it. So this is what I set my goals, and I have my vision in my head too. And I'll tell you actually, while I play it, I guess, what's just happened for me, because this is what I've done and it works. Hold on just a second. There we go. So I went to a Dave O'Connor event. I don't even think it was last year, actually. I think it was the year before. And he played this song. It's called the Practical Magic theme tune. And he said, imagine where you want to be in 5 years' time. And just imagine that complete vision of everything is as you want it to be. So my vision was William running across this really big lawn. My vision was jumping out of a car, and so I had to kind of jump to hit the floor. So I knew it was going to be a Jeep. And then as I walked to my dream home, which I didn't know what that looked like, but I could hear gravel and feel it crunching under my feet. And so I knew it would have a gravel driveway. Then when I pushed the door open, I knew it was going to be a wooden door. And I could just feel this most amazing feeling. And I could see William and Sean running down the lawn playing. And I knew exactly how it was going to feel. You have to know that as well. You have to know the moment. What's your you made it moment? What does it look like? Knowing that you've made it, what does that actual moment look like? Because that's my moment. You need to know what it feels like, what it looks like, who's there with you, what can you see? You need to know how it feels. And it's having that vision. And I put it to music only because then when I'm in my car and I'm driving to a launch that I would rather be on the sofa with my family, or if I'm going to do a planning meeting, or if I'm nervous about speaking at an event, I just play that song. It takes me straight away to that vision of like, you've made it, you've done it. This is how it feels. This is why you're doing it. Then it just urges me to just do that little bit more, to push myself that little bit further, to say yes to things that really scare me, just to keep doing it, to tell that person at the checkout about our forever opportunity when really I could just stick my head down or say thank you very much and leave. It's having that vision of what it looks like and knowing how much you're prepared to work for it that will take you to exactly where you are supposed to be and, you know, where you deserve to be, because we all do. We all deserve to be there. So thank you very much for listening this evening. Go and find your visions, and definitely, you know, take a step back, have a look at what you've been doing so far. Be really, really honest about it. If you've been doing all the right activity, then actually, is it in the right mindset? Have you been doing enough work on that? 80% of your thoughts every day positive, you know, at least. Then these are the things that you can start to work on if not. So thank you very much for having me this evening. And I'm sure I'll see you all at the Liverpool Success Day. Don't forget, it's the 4th and 5th of September, I believe, or the 3rd and 4th. I've been getting the wrong dates mixed up. So it's one of those 3 days, 3rd, 4th and 5th of September in Liverpool. And I'm going to be MC for the day. So it'll be really great to see all these familiar faces there to give us a bit of confidence, because they're going to be terrified. And your very own Sam Pierce is also speaking at Success Day. She's going to be absolutely fantastic. So I know that all of you will be there to support her as well. So look forward to seeing you soon. Take care, everyone. Good night.